is the North End. This is the North End.
Well, hello, football fans, and welcome to another live reaction from your favourite football/soccer/ just all-round great guys, the North End podcast. Now, we are going to be doing a reaction video. We thought it would be in by now, but it's still tinkering its way over the line. And I'm joined by two just truly amazing gentlemen who happen to be Manchester United fans. So David Convery, of course, is one of them. And we also have Paul Forrest. But David joining us now. David, how are you, sir?
I'm good, mate. Big game tomorrow. Not sure if this gentleman will be playing. I don't think he will, but excited to have him. Looking forward to chatting with you two about it.
Wout Weghorst will not be playing. It was announced today during the Manchester United press conference.
Yeah. Although,
well,
I wouldn't be surprised if he makes the bench. You never know. You never know.
No, maybe. But I don't think he's going to feature. We know that for certain. But
Martial's
yes,
injured. Yeah, so maybe.
Yeah,
maybe. But we'll see. We'll see.
Someone's going to play. Someone's going to play. But listen, does it matter? What's the inevitable? We won't talk about that. We're here to talk about a reaction video, so let's do that. So, gentlemen, you're signing a absolute monster of a centre forward, one of those traditional centre forwards, if ever there was. 6'6", I believe he is, 6'7".
Yeah, I don't know what country you're playing football in, but 6'6" is not traditional. Like, this is the land of the giants forward.
No. The old standard for a centre forward was always tall. Maybe the 6'6" was a little bit intense, but it was always your 6'3", 6'4s. You had a lot of very tall strikers.
Flat
that
track
was
bullies.
That was the real one.
6'6" is a freak.
Tell that to Peter Crouch. 6 foot.
I would if I saw Peter Crouch. I'd be like straight up, "Hey, you're a freak," because he's a freak.
Great at doing the robot. Great at doing the robot.
Let's get to the reaction, right? And let's talk. Paul, you are the calm amongst the North End storm. So let's start with you, my friend. What do you make of this behemoth joining your beautiful Manchester United?
I'm a little giddy. Honestly, I'm a little giddy about it. I liked this guy. When he went to Burnley, I wanted him at Man United. And I wanted him because at the time, Ralph Rangnick was trying to implement this system where the strikers were supposed to be doing pressing, and obviously Ronaldo was not equipped for that. So it became very clear. This whole thing about pressing became a priority among strikers. Like, there's a lot of strikers where pressing numbers became this thing. And this guy was always at the top of the list when it came to pressing. And I was like, oh, this guy's awesome. And he's 6'6". He's a beast. And, his YouTube highlight reel is pretty impressive as well. He didn't go to United. He went to Burnley for 17 million at the time. I thought that's probably a drop in the bucket for United. Why didn't we get him? And I was like very enthusiastic when he went to Burnley. I thought he was like I think I actually called him the Burnley spirit animal. Like, he was such a Burnley-like striker. So yeah, I'm very excited that we finally got him because things didn't work out for Burnley for various reasons, but it didn't change what I liked about the guy. Like, everything I'm hearing since then, where even more stuff is coming out about him, about his arrogant air and his overconfidence and like all these things that I completely think are Man United striker traits. Yeah, so I'm very happy. I as soon as this was a sniff of a whisper of a rumor, I was like, yes.
Sorry, a sniff of a whisper of a rumor. That really is a rumor.
It's a hallmark. That's a hallmark card.
I heard it on the wind, and it came to me on the wind.
Okay,
and I was.
I bet many things did. Well, listen, it's almost like impossible for this not to happen. Never say never. Of course, we don't know, but I think it's almost certainly a matter of when, rather than at all if. So I think it's an interesting one. David Convery, never always just an agreeable character yourself. Sometimes you like to mix it up, throw a spanner in the works. So let's have a look at some of these stats here. Obviously, Paul, you mentioned the presses per 90 minutes. Obviously, when he was with Burnley, that is very impressive. A 48.7 rating there. In header, Dendoncker, who is a bit of a workhorse for pressing as well. So very different players, a Dendoncker to Weghorst, and I think it's a great statistic to have and something that you really don't have at United. So what is your initial reaction to this, Connie?
I like it mostly for the simple reason that we finally seem to have a manager at United who is taking serious priorities in the transfer market. So, and whether what you want to argue it or not, United's transfer window this summer has been the best in the Premier League. We brought in Lissandro Martinez, World Cup winner, who's been phenomenal. Casemiro has been a revelation. Eriksen is a mainstay. So he scouted these guys, selected them, and brought them in, and they've been a great fit. So you look at somebody like a Weghorst, and you hear his name, and the first thing you do is like, Weghorst, United? But if Erik ten Hag wants him, that immediately gives me comfort that he thinks he can bring something to the squad. And to Paul's point, when it came to Ronaldo and even Martial and other forwards that we still have, I don't think we're pressing the way the manager wants us to, not at the capacity. So he's bringing this guy in who's a big guy at 6'6", talented, great footwork, has an eye for goal, but he's going to do the work. He's going to help him play the style he wants to play while having that aggressive, hard work rate attitude, and he's an actual number 9 who can finish. So if he can implement him into what Ten Hag has made United up until now this season, he could be a bargain, but we'll see. I like the idea of it. We always say the same thing. It's the Premier League. Let's see if he can adapt, but it's definitely one I'm excited about, but one I didn't expect. I'm not going to do cartwheels about it, but I think there's really good potential for him to implement well into what Ten Hag has built right now with United. So we'll see, but excitement for sure.
Yeah, I think it's a great answer, Paul. Just picking up on those points there. Where do you see him slotting into this team? Because obviously you can see there's a vast difference to a Martial and a Weghorst. So, how do you see United setting up to get the best out of this very, very different option?
I think primarily the word option is the key word here. If we're chasing games late, he's somebody that we can bring in that would be a fox in the box or just a complete different shift of how we would be playing up to a certain point in a game. Even if we're defending a game late, Erik ten Hag's not afraid to take a forward off and throw on Harry Maguire if he's off the bench, for example, just to put more size out there. This would be very similar where you take Martial off and you put Wout on, and all of a sudden we got a 6'6" pressing machine to close out a game. So I think primarily I see him being an option for late in game scenarios. But also reality is we have so much football coming up. We just had another game scheduled against Crystal Palace. So I believe in the next 3 weeks, we got something like 6 or 7 games going. Like just an incredible amount of games up ahead of us with a lot of players that we know will get injured at some point. Like Martial is not actually going to be an option that we can rely on. And Rashford is scoring a lot of goals from the left. So I don't even like the idea of putting Rashford down the center. So immediately what and how we use this guy, it's like, yeah, he probably is a late in the game scenario player, but he's going to get starts as well for sure. And I don't mind that, because even if you're out there and you don't score, and I don't necessarily think you have Premier League quality scoring, if you're going to definitely bring me running and energy and size, I'm okay. I'm comfortable with what that means. We were never going to get somebody who could score 15, 20 goals in the Premier League in January. So this felt like an astute piece of business. And I would expect to see him playing by next week. I could almost even see him like starting against Crystal Palace in our next game.
Do you see,
depending how the
Man City game goes. Do you see a change of formation at all? Like because obviously I think you've been playing really nice football. I'm just not seeing directly in the way that you've been set up how he slots into that. I don't know whether it's
take Martial out and put him in.
Yeah. He's going to be the number 9. Like our forward line hasn't really changed at all. That the formation changes that we've made have mostly been in midfield and a little bit in defense. So he's only ever going to come in in that classic number 9 role. He won't play any other position, and I don't really think it'll change or augment the way we play. It to Paul's point, it'll bring another option, but I think what this guy, from everything you hear about him, I think he's chomping at the bit and licking his lips a little bit and looking at what United have in the 9 role with Martial, who's not always consistent. I think what I like about this guy, from what I hear about him, is he's probably looking at this and be like, this is probably not supposed to be a starter role, but I'm going to go in here and make it my role. So, and I hope he does, because we don't have a classic 9. I don't know if I'd classify Martial as a goal scorer, and Paul's right. Rashford is best off the left, so this could be good, but we'll have to see. But there's definite chance of him making a huge impact. We'll see. I'm excited.
And tactically, like how we currently play, like the games that we're playing are best football. Martial plays down the center as a 9. He is not a 9 that gets brought in on the goalie one-on-one a lot. Like he's more of a hold-up 9 that is good at slipping the ball past the defenders for a Martial or an Anthony to run onto. This guy can do that. Like that's not a flaw in his game. He's very good at it. He's probably actually better at Martial at that. Where he falls short and why he's not a premium signing is because his goal scoring numbers aren't great. But Martial's goal scoring numbers aren't great. So we're not losing out on those games where we have to bring him in instead of Martial. Martial is very tricky in the box. He's a handful for a defender, yes, but this guy is also very large and is a handful for a defender in a different way. But in terms of output, it's not like Martial is going to be missed should this guy be brought in instead. You're not losing out in goal scoring because Martial's not really doing it.
I just think for me, traditionally, when you see a player of this size, that where they've really kind of done well is linking up with one direct individual. You know, my direct thought was always the Peter Crouch. There was always that smaller striker. There was always another striker. It was those 2 centre forwards. He was the big guy. You had a Jermaine Defoe following up, and that's my only thing here. I think you've been playing really good football. You seem to think he'll slot straight into that Martial role. I'm not so sure. I don't know whether it will be exactly 1-for-1. Obviously, as you said, offer a lot in the box, both in very different ways. I think Martial's trickery works in that system, where Weghorst offers something different. So that's where I'm not 100% with you on that.
I don't disagree
I definitely
with
think he
that.
offers something.
That's the area where when I watch United, sometimes when we break from defense and we move the ball wide to the halfway line, where Martial can be very effective with speed running in behind it. I think from a mobility, running pace standpoint, if we're going to kind of get into that situation, I don't know that Weghorst is the guy to kind of help us and be successful. I think it's going to be more the low blocks where you're going to have to slowly creep in. 8 to 9 to 10 men behind the ball. You're going to have to be putting balls into the box. Martial's not a strong header of the ball, but I think on the break, you might be right, Luke. That's where I can't see him being super effective. He's 6'6". There's no way you're going to sell me on any footballer 6'6" being that mobile. Great with his feet, so I'm not going to compare his Latin.
That's touch, okay. Hang on. So let's talk about that
on the
for
break,
a second.
On the break, it's going to be tough on the break. You got to admit that.
Really don't like it when people talk about a guy who has really high pressing numbers as not being mobile. Like those are contradictory.
On the break,
statements.
though, pressing is effort. Press for and pushing.
Right. Pressing
if we need
are very different things. A fat guy can press,
very different,
but it doesn't mean he's good on the
break.
Entirely different things.
This guy is
like
more
if
mobile
we're on the
than
break,
giving him credit for.
Like Martial's
all,
fast. Let's be honest.
Martial is
we're
fast.
On the break,
when's the last time you saw his speed? In this system that we are playing right now, when's the last time you saw his speed used as an asset?
That's the thing we haven't covered yet.
We are the Ten Hag system, and I'm explaining it's actually pretty straightforward.
No, I agree.
Into the system.
I agree.
Martial, all the attributes he brings as a player aren't really even being used in this system.
And I don't disagree. I think over 90 minutes, Weghorst would be a better fit. But I'm saying if you're looking for any type of weakness, it would be that if we are getting on that break and we're trying to get transition, I don't know that this is the fastest guy that you're going to put. Bruno puts a ball in behind and he's going to win with speed. But again, you're right. Most of the teams, other than like the Cities and the Arsenals, we will be playing a low block where I think he's going to be more effective. But definitely another option, and we need a guy like this.
I'd be interested to see how Bruno kind of slots in around him, because Bruno obviously is a very very creative player for you. He's a shithouse, but he's a creative player nevertheless. And I wonder whether he's given a bit more freedom, told to, hey, get closer to Veg, get closer to him, and have that option to have the ball back off him. Because at six, this is a 6'6" guy. He's a big block to get the ball to, right? And a hold up play with Bruno having a bit more freedom to play off him. That's where I'm seeing, because I'm looking at like how you lined up against like Everton. So I'm looking at my phone now, and Rashford's not going to come inside, as you said. It's a complete waste. Anthony's good on that side. You're pretty set in the middle there with Casemiro and Eriksen kind of thing. I think Bruno Fernandes. I'm wondering if he kind of adjusts him a little bit. That's my only thought here.
I think he might expose Bruno a little bit, because the one thing that I think Erik ten Hag, from what I understand his management, what I've seen so far, he wants to see us press from the front more. I think that's a weakness in Bruno's game. I say this all the time. He's a wonderfully talented, skilled individual. He's not a fast player, and sometimes he gets beat on a quick 1-2 pass. He's not mobile at all. Like, I think that's a weakness. If Weghorst is going to come on and outwork everyone, I think it might expose Bruno on the press a little bit. But as far as creating chances, I mean, he's going to be the guy where you give him, say, hey, this is a natural finisher, a big boy in the box. That's got to get Bruno a little bit excited when he's on the ball, right? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, get into it. I think it's an exciting signing. His statistics there, Paul, obviously pretty decent. He's having a good season. Besiktas are meant to be. The fans are pretty pissed. Apparently, they didn't really see it. They've been kind of like blindsided by it. But he's 16 games, 8 goals, 4 assists. Now, obviously, a prerequisite to that is it is the Turkish league, and we know that there's a lot of players that have done very well there that have not made the transition. But he has, he's tasted the Premier League before. He had a bit of a rough time because he was at Burnley, and they were crap, really, weren't they? They had a couple of decent players, but it was a real mess of a club. But yeah, I think it would be really interesting. Really interesting. I just hope he doesn't take away
like with Burnley,
from anyone else.
Like, if anybody's curious, like, watch what he did when he played for Burnley against United. Like,
that's not going to be the thing, though. The snapshot is going to be the 2 goals, and that's what everyone's going to say, and that's fine. Here's the argument I would make to that. When you find out if a striker's good or if a footballer's good, when you put him in a team who's going to create chances for him. So if he goes into this United team and they're playing the way they are now, he's going to get chances, and it's them. If he is a goal scorer, he is a finisher, we're going to figure it out. We're going to figure it out on this, barring any injury. He's going to get his chances. It's whether or not he's going to take them. We're going to find out what kind of player he really is in this next 6 months. And I hope
isn't that kind of like setting up a
false
like expectation, though? Like, I will reiterate once again, I do not think he is here to score goals. Like, that's great, but everything you just said was you're going to find out if he's a good striker and stuff. We kind of know he's not.
Yeah.
Like, that's not why we brought him in, like, to score goals.
I think he can finish. He's going to be up the middle. It's going to be balls in it. He's a great header of the ball. We don't have anyone on the team, maybe outside of Rashford, that can do that. And one-on-one with a keeper in and around the box, he can put the ball in the net. Martial, hit and miss. Sometimes he looks like a world-class player. Sometimes he looks like he shouldn't even be on the field. I think this guy can put the ball in the net. And again, he's going to get his chances. I have a feeling it's going to go well for him. I hope it does. We'll see, though.
See, this is the difference. I'm actually really excited about him, but my expectations are very much lower than what Connie's saying. And Connie's not as excited, but his expectations are like, what?
We'll see. We'll see if he can fit into the system and if it works. Yeah. But we'll see. I mean, it'll start. He'll play next week.
I think he will play, and I think Paul has got a good point in regards to him starting. I actually could quite easily, and Martial, what a frustrating player he is in regards to, go on, Villa have just gone 2-0 up. Take that. Sorry, just to get is it offside? No, it might be offside. Damn it, it's offside. Sorry. So I think he starts against Crystal Palace. I definitely could see that. It must be incredibly frustrating, not to take away from it, but Martial, A, from his ability, and B, because of his injury record. Like, he doesn't have a great injury record, Martial, does he? He seems to pick up a lot of these niggling injuries, and he would have started. And who is going to start now tomorrow instead of Martial? Like, how are you setting up for that?
Rashford up the middle, Garnacho on the left. Garnacho tearing you apart since 2023.
We'll see.
I love him. I love him. He's the man.
He would definitely. I'll say this about Wout. Wout would be the kind of player we would love to have against Man City.
Yeah, totally.
Like,
oh my
if
god,
anybody's
this is an offside.
Like if any Man United fans are second guessing this purchase, like just imagine what our options are when we go against Manchester City and what this guy would bring to that game. I imagine it's not offside.
No,
Was
it's
it
not
not
offside.
offside, or you
Villa
just said it about
2,
Wout?
Leeds 0. Suck at Leeds.
Well, why don't you
Yeah,
get back to
yeah.
going to watching this
Amazing.
game, and let's just say Weghorst is going to
Oh my
score
God.
probably 10 to 15 league goals, and just we'll sign him, and he'll be a great success.
Okay,
Is that
last
the
before we
expectation?
go, Connie, from the game he starts, who's scoring more, him or Haaland?
Holland scores more than everyone, and will continue to score more than everyone. He's a robot.
No, that's very true. He's a freak of nature. That's very true. And I look forward to his
I don't
hat trick
know.
against United tomorrow.
Fuck me.
Who picks more fights with people? That's what I want to know. Wout or Erling?
Probably Woot.
I think.
know, it's,
Wout, yeah. He
I just want to be really clear because again, I don't get like if somebody's not one of my players, I don't really give a shit how their name is said. But since he's going to be a United player, we should probably start saying his name correctly.
Yeah.
It's Wout with a V.
Woot.
is it?
And
Wout?
you know what?
Yeah,
Let's
yeah, it makes
let's give some
Weghorst.
prayers out to Donny Van de Beek. Season-ending surgery just hasn't worked for him at United, but let's wish a speedy recovery to Donny.
Oh man, he's had a rough time, isn't he? But well,
Can't
guys,
catch a
you
break.
should be excited. I think
We are.
a
We are
very
excited.
Good time and yeah, a great time.
You know what? I'm
going
going to say two things because it's going to bother me if I don't throw it out there. This is an exciting signing. It's a good signing. It is going to be ultimately disappointing for most Man United fans that this is probably the only signing that can be true and have nothing to do with this, if this is a good signing or not. You can be disappointed in the window, not put it at the feet of this signing. They're two separate things. This is a good, smart, tactical signing that isn't going to break the bank. We're not adjusting our summer plans to get this guy through the door. But if you feel like we should have brought in more,
any fan who thinks that is delusional. The team's going well. There's finally some depth in the squad. The one area of the team that just needs. And fan after this is the only bringing in any United fan who's like, oh, what a shite window. Mate, go follow another team because you don't get what's going on. We're building. We've finally got some squad depth. This is a great addition. We're on the roll. We just got to keep going. Tomorrow's a big game.
Yeah. Didn't Ten Hag just become, wasn't he the quickest United manager to reach 20 victories or something? That's incredible.
Yeah.
I thought
he
doing
doesn't
badly.
care.
That's amazing.
He doesn't care. He's like, no, he doesn't care.
He's implementing
It's a project and we're at the beginning and we're doing well. That's right.
Yeah. And he never wanted Gakpo, so it's fine.
There you go. That's true. Okay, guys. Boop, boop,
On that note.
Boop, boop.
Boop.
All right, say goodbye.
All right, boys.
Nice to see you. Best luck tomorrow, guys.
This is the North End.